Okay, hey guys, so they've literally just released the tableau for the individual events in Paris at the Olympics. So I thought I may as well have a little go at predicting what's going to happen. Now, obviously, anything can happen. Um, yeah, it's incredibly unpredictable. A World Cup is unpredictable, the Olympics even more so, but let's have a look, see if we can get any of these right. So starting in the tableau of 64, the incomplete 64, there will be two bouts there. First we have Cochon of Canada versus Ditala of Argentina. I'm going with Ditala. I think Ditala just has a little bit more quality overall. The other bout we have Fatui of Iran versus Zea of Mexico. To be honest, I've not seen much of Zea. I think he trains in Italy. Um, I've seen more of Fortui. I think Fortui has more experience in big championships, so I think I'm going to have to pick Fortui on this one. Then moving on to the 32, El Sisi versus Ditala. I think this is actually a surprisingly close first round considering El Sisi is number one and Ditala is coming in as one of the lower seeds. But overall, you've got to pick El Sisi. He's got the momentum, he's got the quality. So I'm going El Sisi. Next, we have Saran versus Pianfetti. Now, we all know there's been lots of talk about Saran, but I think regardless, he is actually a pretty scary fencer, regardless of what the refereeing is like. But I'm going to go with my heart and I'm going to say Pianfetti. Sabo versus Al Shamlan. This one, it should 100% be Sabo. If Sabo doesn't win, then I'm going to cry a little. Then we've got Rabari versus Sebastien Patrice. Rabari, again, similar to Pacdaman, he's big, he's scary, but I think Seb has the mentality. He's not really scared of anyone. I think he's got more game, he's got more versatility. Again, maybe I'm just going with my heart here, but I'm going with Seb. Next, we have Colin Heathcock versus Park. It's got to be Heathcock. It's got to be Heathcock all the way. I love Park, but it's got to be Heathcock. Then we have Shen versus Gallo. Shen won the Asian individual zonal. I think he fenced really well, and that's such a huge high pressure competition. If he can perform under pressure, that's a really good sign. Gallo, I would say overall is a better fencer, but there's going to be upsets, I think. So I'm going to put this one as an upset. I think Shen is going to win this one. Fares Ferjani versus Gu. Now, on paper, I think it should be Fares Ferjani. I think Gu's not the fencer he once was. He's definitely on the way out. Fares has a lot of quality. He's medalled this season at the World Cup. But Gu is going to die on the piste. This is probably, well, almost certainly his last Olympics. He's just got that mentality in him, that fight in him. It's going to be ugly, but I'm going to say Gu, even though on paper this should be an upset if Gu wins, but I'll say Gu. Next we have Gemeshi versus Dershowitz. I love Gemeshi, one of my favourite fencers, one of my favourite Hungarians, but I'm going to have to go with Dershowitz. Dershowitz has just got more in him at the minute. Then we have Osanguk versus Evan Giraud. Now, Evan has pulled off some pretty big upsets before. He beat Samere, I believe. He might have beat, he had a close match with Sotmari. So it's not quite a done deal as you might think, but I think one of Evan's strengths is his physicality, and O can neutralise that quite easily. He's just more physical. It should be O. Yoshida versus Pacdaman. This one I'm really not sure. They will have fenced quite a lot at Asian Championships, especially in team. I'm not sure what the record is, but I'm going to go Pacdaman. Next, we have an insane matchup for the first round. It's Apiti versus Sotmari. This could easily be a World Cup final, so it's crazy to have a match so early. Now, I really want Apiti to go far here. It's his last Olympics, it's at home. He was a very inspiring figure for me personally. I would like him to win, but historically, he doesn't have a good record here, I'm afraid. I think he's lost his last two Olympics he's done. He's lost in the first round. He's not had great World Championships results. I'm gonna have to go with Sotmari, and it's not exactly an upset. Sotmari is insanely good also. So next we have the other Fares Arthur of Canada versus Siragi. Again, if this was a World Cup or even World Championships, I'd say Arthur. It wouldn't surprise me if a Canadian would win here. But it's the Olympics. Siragi hasn't lost an Olympic match since 2008, so he's not losing in the first round here. Now we have Samele versus Gordon, the other Canadian. This one's a tough one. I like both fencers. I'm gonna have to go with Samele. Ildirim versus Kuratoli. I really like Yildirim. I really like his fencing. I feel like he's in good form. He won the European zonal. They won bronze. Turkey won bronze at the Euros recently. So he's really at the peak of his career, potentially right now. But Kuratoli just has a way of winning these matches. He's not in especially good form. But I just think Kuratoli will find a way to win this. Moataz versus Mohamed Amer, that's going to be interesting. I'd not checked their matchup. Both Egyptian, obviously, so I'm sure they know each other pretty well. They're quite different fencers. I think Moataz is a bit more unusual. Amer is very clean, very disciplined, very tall also. I think Moataz has just a little bit more magic in him. I think just a few more tricks up his sleeve. So I'm going to go with Adam Moataz. Then we have last bout in this round, Fortui versus Bazadze. It's got to be Bazadze. I can't see Fortui winning this one. Okay, on to the 16. We have El Sisi versus Pianfetti. It could be an interesting matchup. I believe that El Sisi has better record against Pianfetti, although they've had some close matches. I think maybe 15-14 in Algiers. I think. I'll have to check that. Obviously, I love Max. He's one of my favourite fencers. But I'm going to have to go with Ziad on this one. Next, we have Sabo versus Sébastien Patrice. Now, I really love Mathias Sabo. He's, in my opinion, one of the few only fencers technically who can be compared to Silagi. On a technical level, for me, they're pretty much the same. He's really clean. He's beautiful to watch. I just feel like his whole career has been an underperformance, especially since the last Olympics. I was really hoping he would get some big results, and he's just not had the consistency. So I would really like him to win an Olympic medal, but I think Seb has a better record. I think with a crowd behind him, I think Patrice is going to be really hard to beat, and yeah, he's one of my favourite fencers too, so maybe I'm a bit biased, but I'm going to go Patrice on this one. Next, we have Heathcock versus Shen. Heathcock was also trained in China, in Beijing also, when he was younger. I don't know if this has any relevance to this. I'm going to go with Heathcock. Now we have Gu versus Dershowitz. I think what's going to happen, Gu is going to battle to get through the first round, and by the time he's done there, he's not going to have anything left in him. He's going to be broken to get through the first round. It's going to have to be Dershowitz. I can't see Gu making it that far. Next, we have O versus Pagdaman. This is another Asian Zone classic. I've not actually checked the record, but it's got to be O. I think he just has a little bit more in him. I think he's going to be better than he has been this whole season because of the Olympics, because of the pressure. So yeah, O. Next, we have another interesting matchup: Silagi versus Satmari. I'm not sure what kind of record they have, these two. My head says Satmari will win this one. Although Satmari is coming back from injury, he injured his ankle in training before the Euros, so he didn't fence any Euros. So yeah, let's say Silagi. Although you never know what happens in these kind of matches. Next, another match between teammates. We've got Samele versus Curatoli. I'm gonna go Curatoli. I think he's got just a bit more fight in him than Samele. Samele's old. Yeah, Curatoli. Next, this one is really interesting, I think. Bazadze versus Moataz. Bazadze is a beast, but this season he's been vulnerable. Well, he's been human compared to the season before, and Moataz did beat him at Orléans at the start of the season. So, see, either Moataz goes into this confident, knowing that he's won it before, and Bazadze's got a few nerves because he knows he's lost this before, or equally, Bazadze could have thought about this bout loads. He could have, come back, worked out what he needed to do, and use this information to win. And in theory, the better fencers are better at coming back and changing their plan. So I'm gonna have to go Bazadze. Okay, on to the 8. El Sisi versus Patrice. I'm just gonna stick with my heart. I like El Sisi, but I want to see Patrice win a medal, so I'm gonna have to pick Seb. Perhaps not the rational decision, but okay. Heathcock versus Dershowitz. I think Heathcock has a better record against Dershowitz. I think. Colin Heathcock's the special one. He's Lisan Al Gaib, the Kwisatz Haderach. He's got to win a medal at least, surely. You've got to pick Heathcock. Then we have O versus Silagi. This was a classic round, 2019, 2018. Normally this is like the best match ever to watch. So I would really like to see this matchup. I don't think O's in the form to beat Silagi at the Olympics. Silagi at the Olympics is something else. He kind of has plot armor, so why not? 4th consecutive semi-final for Silagi, that's what we'll say. Then we have Curatoli versus Bazadze. This is often quite an ugly match. A match that you don't really want to referee. Both quite loud, aggressive fencers. I'm gonna go Bazadze. He's... yeah. Although it could go either way, like so many of these. Now we have a semi-final, Patrice versus Heathcock. I don't know if he's fenced that much, actually. They fenced in team. I think Patrice might have a better record in team when they've met in team, I'm not sure. But I'm going to have to go with Colin Heathcock, sorry. And then we have the other semi-final, Silagi versus Bazadze. It's going to be Silagi. Now, this is a repeat of a matchup in the last 8 of Tokyo. And in my opinion, that time, Silagi got some quite favourable referees. I think overall, Bazadze should have won that time. But this time, I'm going to go Silagi again. The Olympic plot armour is just too strong. That sets us up for our bronze medal match, which will be between Bazadze and Patrice, both technically club mates at Orléans. They're pretty close. It could be a very interesting match if these meet. The last time they met, it was an absolute disaster. So it will be quite fun to see this again. Um, last time they fenced, it was Bazadze who won, but again it was a bit of a mess. There was some very dodgy refereeing. I'm gonna say Bazadze. Bazadze has to get an Olympic medal. Fourth place, Patrice. Bronze medal for Bazadze. The final. This has to be the final for me. This perhaps it's not rational, but this is the final I want. I want it to be Heathcock versus Silagi in the final, and Colin Heathcock will win. He will be Olympic champion at 18 years of age. This will be the story. The old finally defeated by the new generation of fencers led by Colin Heathcock. Surely this has to be the story.